Ever noticed your stool floating in the toilet bowl? While it might seem like a minor detail, persistent floating stool can be a clue about your digestive health. Let's dive into the reasons behind this phenomenon, explore potential underlying causes, and understand when it's time to consult a doctor. Most of us expect our stool to sink, but buoyancy isn't always a bad sign. Stool floats primarily due to two factors: excess gas or high fat content. Understanding these can provide initial insights into your digestive processes. Excess gas in the intestines, often from high-fiber diets or certain carbohydrates, can make stool less dense. High-fat content, known as steatorrhea, occurs when the gut doesn't properly absorb fat, leading to buoyant stool. Keep an eye on the frequency and consistency to determine if it's a one-off or a recurring issue. It's essential to differentiate between occasional and persistent floating stool. Occasional floating stool, especially after a gassy or fatty meal, is usually not a cause for concern. However, persistent floating stool, particularly when accompanied by other symptoms, warrants closer attention. Now that occasional floating stool is normal and not a cause for concern, let's explore some common health issues associated with persistent floating stools, providing a clear understanding of potential causes. 1. Steatorrhea, characterized by fatty, floating, foul-smelling stools, results from the gut's inability to absorb fat properly. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, EPI, where the pancreas doesn't produce enough digestive enzymes, is also a common cause for steatorrhea. The second underlying disease may be celiac disease, an autoimmune disorder triggered by gluten that can cause chronic diarrhea, weight loss, and fatty floating stools. Third is Crohn's disease, which affects the ileum, the last part of the small intestine, can impair bile acid absorption. Bile acids are crucial for fat digestion, so their malabsorption can cause fatty stools that float. The fourth cause of floating poop can be chronic pancreatitis. This disease is because of long-term inflammation of the pancreas, which reduces enzyme production, leading to poor fat digestion. This often results in oily, floating stools and weight loss over time. Fifth is cholestatic liver diseases, such as primary biliary cholangitis, PBC, or primary sclerosing cholangitis, PSC, which reduce bile flow. Without sufficient bile in the intestines to emulsify fats, fat absorption falls, causing fatty, floating stool. Giardiasis, an intestinal infection by the parasite Giardia lamblia, often leads to greasy, foul-smelling diarrhea that floats, accompanied by gas, cramps, and nausea. Giardiasis is typically contracted from contaminated water and may cause prolonged symptoms if untreated. 7. Small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, SIBO, involves excess bacteria in the small intestine that can consume nutrients, including fats, produce gas, and lead to bloating and stool changes. SIBO can contribute to fat malabsorption by deconjugating bile acids and cause floating stools. 9. The tropical sprue and Whipple's disease are rare causes, but they involve malabsorption due to intestinal damage from infection or inflammation, leading to steatorrhea and nutrient deficiencies. 10. Food. Consuming lots of beans, legumes, carbonated drinks, or fibrous vegetables can increase intestinal gas. This can make stool float due to the gas bubbles trapped in it. Such stool might not be fatty or particularly foul-smelling. It floats simply because of air content. Diets with a lot of whole nuts might increase stool fat content because the fats are not fully absorbed. Also, olestra, a fat substitute formerly in some snack foods, can cause loose, fatty stools that may float. 11. The fat-blocking drug Orlistat, ALI-R, prevents fat absorption. As a side effect, unabsorbed fat exits the body, often causing oily, floating stools. Some fat substitutes in processed foods can have a similar, though usually milder, effect. 12. When your body fails to absorb fats, those fats remain in the intestines and get excreted. Fatty stool characteristics include bulkiness and buoyancy, making it more likely to float. Let us now concentrate on strategy to tackle mild cases of floating stools. Certain dietary adjustments can often provide relief and improve overall digestive health. If you suspect excess gas, try cutting back on beans, lentils, carbonated drinks, cabbage, broccoli, and other known gas producers. Introduce them back one at a time to see if a particular food is the culprit. 2. If you are consuming very high-fat meal, stop it and start a balanced diet. However, if you have a malabsorption condition like pancreatic insufficiency, simply reducing fat is not a long-term solution. In such cases, enzyme supplements are needed rather than extreme fat restriction. 3. If your diet is low in fiber, gradually add soluble fiber, like oats, bananas, or psyllium. This can help normalize stool consistency, but do this slowly. Adding fiber too quickly can increase gas initially. 4. Drink plenty of water, especially when increasing fiber. Proper hydration helps stool pass more easily and may reduce constipation-related issues that sometimes cause irregular stool characteristics. 5. Gut health improvements. Over-the-counter probiotic supplements or probiotic-rich foods, yogurt with live cultures, kefir, sauerkraut, might improve gut flora balance. A healthy microbiome can reduce gas production and improve digestion. Probiotics might be particularly helpful if you've had a gut infection or after taking antibiotics. For gas-related floating stools, simethicone, gas XR, can help reduce bloating and gas. If lactose intolerance or a specific food intolerance is suspected, taking digestive enzymes, like lactase for dairy with meals, might help prevent malabsorption of that nutrient and related symptoms. 7. Monitoring your food is a very important step. So keep a food diary. Note what you eat and when your stool floats. This can help identify dietary triggers. For instance, you might find that every time you have a milkshake, your stool floats, potentially pointing to lactose intolerance, or that a particular high-fat dish consistently causes oily stool. If you notice the issue started after weight loss supplements or fat substitutes, like certain diet chips, consider stopping these and see if the problem resolves. Floating stools can result from harmless dietary factors, but persistent occurrences might signal malabsorption or other gastrointestinal issues. Excess gas or high-fat content in stool causes it to float. Investigating your diet and symptoms is a good first step. Try simple home remedies and diet tweaks. Take control of your digestive health today. Schedule a checkup and start feeling better. If you liked the video, please share with friends and family.